All right, Rock. We got a special guest in the building sitting in with us today.
Okay.
Got him sitting in here with us. 26-time national champion.
Kaboom!
Don't do that, man.
Shit.
Do it again.
Kaboom!
Elijah
Kaboom!
Lugo, 26-time national champ. What's up, bro? Thank you for being here with us. Sitting in on us at CounterPunch conversation. Got his Skittles. Show it to the camera. We'll talk about that later. His infatuation with Skittles and what's wrong with you? What's your face for?
Where the ring come from, man?
What are you talking about?
You changed fingers with it. It was on the right hand last time.
Don't worry about me. I'm slick. Anyway, we're going to talk about Skittles in a minute. Elijah needs to get an endorsement by Skittles. Skittles need to come on and do the right thing. You're not even supposed to be having those right here, but cool. It's all right. Go ahead. Elijah, turn the pack around so they can see it.
Okay. Free promo.
Elijah's the only person that's ever been here before and bought some product placement with him. You need to holler at Elijah. Elijah's a Skittle maniac.
No force on earth that can stop me from getting some Skittles. You got to kill me to prevent me from getting some Skittles.
See? All right, Elijah, let's get right to it, man. Let's start from the very beginning. When and where were you born, and how was your upbringing as a child, as far as you can remember?
I was born in Florida, lived there for a couple years. When I was, I think, 4 or 5, we went up to Georgia.
And
I was that little kid that was, a little different. My mind, I thought of things differently than other people. I liked different things than other people, I came up, my dad eventually got me into boxing after my brother had been doing it for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
First day, real tough, I got in there, very first day, they put me in with this kid. He knocked me outside the ring.
do you remember who he was?
I have no idea who he is now.
He probably don't even box no more.
Probably not. But this kid knocked me all the way outside the ring. Like, I fell off the ring. I remember crying, saying, like, I'm never going to do this again. I don't want to box no more. I'm never going to do this again. I stopped for maybe a few weeks. My dad put me back in. Then eventually, I slowly got a little bit better than him, And he would still beat me up every time we sparred. But there was one day I outsmarted him. And after I touched gloves, I went to the corner. I waited till he got close. I swung around him, and I started punching him as much as I could. And for a good 5 seconds, I was beating him up. For a good 5 seconds. After that, he whooped me for the rest of the round. But those 5 seconds, man.
You felt great.
They felt amazing. I wanted to know how I can get more than 5 seconds.
Right.
And as I got better and better, went from 5 seconds to 10 seconds, 10 seconds to 15 seconds. Eventually, the whole round. Eventually, the kid left the gym. I'd never seen him again.
So let's go back for a second. Let's go back to, okay, you was in Florida, you moved to Georgia, but how did you get started in boxing? You said Nathan was boxing for a little bit before, but how did you decide? Was it your decision, or did Dad decide, hey, man, you gonna box? Or did you say one day, hey, I want to go to the gym and learn how to box too?
Well, no, I would always go up there. I would always be on my iPad playing Angry Birds or some other type of game. My dad would come up to me and be like, hey, you want to try this? I'd be like, nah. Kept me. And then one day he was like, come on, you're going to do it. You're going to go do it. That was what really started me, And then that first day, like I just said, I got whooped, got destroyed.
So you sparred the first day you ever just...
First day I ever trained was the first day I sparred.
Wow.
That's the story right there.
It was also the first time I got knocked down and knocked out of the ring.
Right. And how would you remember the time? You remember how old you were?
I remember being 5, but they keep on saying I was 6.
But you remember being 5.
Yeah, I remember being 5.
Let's go with 5.
Yeah.
All right, so you training, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, boom, 8 years old hits, you can compete. You lost your first 13 fights.
Yeah.
So you lose. You fighting that this week, you lose. You fight this time, you lose. You lose 13 fights. How did that feel? Like, what was the feeling after you lost a couple of times? What was the feeling? When did you, like, what was going through your mind as you was losing these fights?
Well, my first fight ever was in Ringside World.
Your first fight?
First fight ever was at Ringside World. I went in there. I fought. I got dropped one round, and no one told me what a standing 8 was. So I quickly stood up, and the lady's still counting, and so I have no idea what's going on because I'm on my feet now. But that fight happened. I lost. I got sad. 2 more fights happened. I lost again. And then I can't remember if it was my 4th or 5th, but it was one of those fights I thought I did pretty good. But they still didn't give it to me.
Right.
And it got less of becoming like something that I would get sad about. It was just like, okay, here I go. I'm going to go do my best, but they're not going to give it to me, you know? Because even if I do good or bad, it was just like I was losing.
So you had that mindset, like, I don't matter what I do, I'm going to lose.
It wasn't even like that. It was almost like subconscious because it's like if you go up the stairs every day, you go from the bottom to the top. You walk up, right? You're not thinking when you're walking up the stairs that I'm going to trip or fall. You're just thinking, okay, let me get from point A to point B. So for me, it was just like, okay, let me go here and fight, and then another kid's going to win. That's what it was. I didn't think that nothing crazy was going to happen. I didn't think that no crazy event was happening. I think I was just going from point A to point B. Then one day, my 14th fight, it was the last fight of the year.
You got to remember who it was. You got to remember who you fought.
I remember
first win.
Man, I remember the day so clearly. I remember the belt so clearly.
I don't remember the opponent.
I'm not good with names.
I remember. I don't remember the opponent, but I remember when you got that win though, because I remember your daddy put you on his shoulders.
Oh, that was JO's.
It was JO's or something like
Was it JO's in Dallas?
Nah,
that wasn't his first win.
No,
You're talking about his first national title.
Yeah,
I remember when he got his first win because I remember Mike picked you up. Mike was happier than you. I remember.
I was pretty happy. I remember it was my 14th fight, and my dad told me beforehand because it was the last fight of the year. You got to renew your passbook every year. And he told me, maybe this ain't for Elijah, maybe this ain't for him. And he's like, all right, if you don't win this fight, you don't have to keep boxing, it's all right, And so I go up there, I fight. It was a close fight. It was a tough fight, I did what I did. And I remember for the first time ever, they called my name. They called my name as the winner.
Right.
I was so excited. I jumped nearly 5 feet off the ground.
He's still doing that to this day, too, by the way. Go ahead.
I jumped nearly 5 feet off the ground. I was like, oh, my goodness. I remember I ran around the whole arena with my belt. I was just holding it up for everybody to see. People who have no idea who I am, what I am, they're just seeing some little kid walking around in my head. I'm like, yeah, what do you want?